Right. Okay, people, so this chapter is about logs and exponents. Okay, so we started off with just normal exponents, those two sums that I gave you, just to get you guys into the rhythm of exponents. Okay, good. So, first things first, on the left-hand side, you will see that both of them has got a base of 2, okay? And technically, it's 2 to the power of x times that bracket. And when base is the same, when we multiply, what do we do with exponents? We're going to add them. So that is the same as x plus x minus 2, so meaning 2x minus 2. Do you guys agree? Okay, and then the 64, I'm also going to change to a base of 2. So I want to write that as 2 to the power of 6. Now, because base is the same on both sides, and there's an equal sign in between, I can now only look at the exponent. So I can say 2x minus 2 will be the same as 6. So we take the minus 2 over. So 2x is equal to 8, which means that x will be 4. You guys good with that? Okay. Then 1.3. 3 to the power of x minus 1 times 27 equal to 1 over 81. Okay. Now you saw in the previous one, we want bases to be the same. Now, your bases should usually be in terms of prime numbers, right? So that first one, I'm going to stick to 3 to the power of x minus 1. It can't go smaller than that. The 27, I'm going to change to 3 to the power of 3. And then the 1 over 81, that's the same as 1 over 3 to the power of 4. No. Now, the left-hand side. Because base is 3 and we're multiplying, I can actually go and add the exponents. So that's the same as 3 to the power of x, and then minus 1 plus 3 will give me 2. Okay? Equal to, now over here, that's in the form of a fraction. So if I take that to the top, it will become 3 to the power of minus 4. Now, can you now see that base is 3 on both sides? So I can only look at exponents. So meaning the x plus 2, will be equal to minus 4. That means that x will be minus 6. Okay. That was just to remind you guys about exponents. Now, let's talk about the exponential graph. Can I skip you? And if you maybe want to follow as I go along, I am on page 48. We're first going to talk, we're just going to revise the exponential graph. Okay. Yes. No. As I said, I just want to get started with the logs. And then once we're done with that, I'll go back.
Don't jump the gun.
Okay, so page 48. Let's talk about your exponential graph. Now, the equation will be y is equal to a to the power of x. Okay, but a must be greater than 0, no? And a must also not be equal to 1. Okay, you guys good with that? Okay, now, usually, doesn't matter what the equation, if I make my x value 0, no? Anything to the power of 0 will be 1. Come on. Will be 1. So if x is 0, y is usually 1. No? It's only if the it's only if I have a added asymptote there. that coordinate will change. Dan nou is by Afrikaans 'n asymptoot. As die asymptoot verander, nee, dan gaan daai koördinaat verander. Ja. Asymptote. Anyway. Okay. Right, so y is equal to a to the power of x. A must be a positive number, meaning greater than 0, and it may not be 1. Then, your x-intercept will usually be where x is 0 and y is 1.
Stop it.
Nee? Dis eintlik die y-afsnit. Wat gaan hier aan? Ekskuus. Die handboek sê verkeerd, hoor. Just change it in your... The y-intercept is where x is 0 and y is 1. Nee? Want onthou, ons het nou gesê enigiets tot die mag 0 gee mos vir my 1. Okay. Dit beteken ook dat wat is my asymptoot? Wat gaan my asymptoot wees by hierdie grafiek? Jou? X-as. Okay. Die X-as sal jou asymptoot wees. Die y-as is 'n horisontale. Julle is besig om vir Mrs. Teacher te disrupt. Luister gou hier saam met my. Die definisieversameling, the domain of that graph will be x is an element of real numbers, nee? Because we don't know really where it stops. Then, the range, nee? The range will be y is an element of real numbers, but because the x-axis is my asymptote, nee? The graph is from there on upwards. You will have to say y must be greater than 0. Nee? So let's just write that. Domain will be just x is an element of real numbers. Kom ek teken gou vir jou so. Kom ons sê like so. This is going to go closer and closer and closer towards the x-axis, but it's never going to touch. No? So domain will be x an element of real number. The range, kan jy sê, y is 'n element van reële getalle, maar y moet wees groter as 0. It can never have negative values for y. Nee. Okay, dan sê hulle vir jou, as a groter is as 0, kom ek skryf net weer in 'n ander kleur. If a is greater than 1, if a is greater than 1, dan sê hulle vir jou, styg die grafiek. Nee? So it's an increasing function. En dan, as a lê tussen 0 en 1, met ander woorde, it's a fraction. Nee? If it's between 0 and 1, it means it would be a fraction. Nee? Dan gaan die grafiek daal. Okay, so then it's decreasing. Dan gaan die grafiek daal. Let me show you guys quickly. Okay, so this will be where y is equal to 2 to the power of x. So can you see the a value is greater than 1? Nee? So it's an increasing function. As my x increases, y also increases. Do you guys see that? Okay. Now, let's look at if I make it that, instead of 2, I make it a half to the power of x, yeah? Decrease. Okay. So dan gaan hy so lyk. Nou moet ek dit net lekker teken. Nee, mag nie raak nie. Sorry, is nog glad nie mooi geteken nie. Okay. Ja, maak gou daarvoor ons oop asseblief die deur. Okay, this will be an example of a half to the power of x. Can you see? Can you see over here that value of a is between 0 and 1? It's a fraction, a half, nee? And that is why it's a decreasing function, nee? Die grafiek daal. So soos wat x meer raak a minder. Nee? Everyone fine with that? Okay, so that's the general exponential graph. Now, what happens when we have an asymptote? Mag wys gou. Kan ek maar skip? Okay, so as ek a is gelyk aan a tot die mag x, that's what we usually had. And now I say plus p. Then this p daai is dan my asymptote. All right. So if they were to ask you, where would what would the equation of the asymptote then be? I look at that value and I say y is equal to p. Kom ek skryf vir my by asymptote. So kom ons gebruik sommer gou daai vorige enetjie as 'n voorbeeld, né? Nee? Let's say the previous one we had y is equal to 2 to the power of x. Nee, but now let's just say plus 1. Then our previous graph die x-axis, nee, was my asymptoot gewees. Ek mag nie deur hom gesny het. Maar nou skuif daai asymptoot enetjie op, want die vergelyking van my asymptoot would now be y is equal to 1. So I'm going to draw, I'm going to draw that line here. And remember, when it's an asymptote, we want 'n stippellyntjie, né? Julle reg daar? En ons skryf gewoonlik hier y is gelyk aan 1. Nee. Okay. So now, ek gaan gou terugskip vir jou. Have a look. This was my graph. That whole thing is basically just going to move up 1 unit. Nee. So waar gaan hy nou hierso sny? Hy gaan nie meer sny by 0 en 1 nie, maar by 0 en Dankie. Yes. Kyk gou. So alles het eintlik net enetjie opgeskuif. So hy gaan nou hier sny waar x nog steeds 0 is, maar y is 2. How did we get that point? If I substitute in x is 0, it would be 2 to the power of 0 plus 1. And anything to the power of 0 is still 1. En dis hoe ek kom by daai 2. Nee, maar ek jy hoef nie eers dit te gaan uitwerk het nie, because the whole thing just moved up 1 unit. I knew that coordinate would also just move 1 up. Okay. Enige vrae? Yes. Yeah. There we go.
I think you should take this out
Okay. Anyone still copying, yeah? Kan ek maar aangaan? Hands up, who's still copying? Jy reg? Okay. Now, I quickly want to work through that example on page 49. Kom ons kyk gou na nommer 3. Okay. So what they're giving me is two graphs. Nee? They say fx is equal to a to the power of x. So as jy nou kyk na daai prentjie, nee? Fx is die blou grafiek. Okay? And then they say, they give me 2 points on fx. They give me the coordinate where x is 2 and y is 9. And x value is p and y is 1 over 81. Okay. Now at the first question they say determine the values of a and p. So a is in my equation of the graph itself. Now, you will say that fx is the same as y, nee? So a is gelyk aan a tot die mag x. Now, I can basically substitute in any point on that graph. And I was given two. One of them has got an unknown, the one with a p. So I'm obviously not going to use that one. So ek gaan instel waar x2 is en a is 9. Because by substituting in those two, the x and the y, I would only have a as an unknown then in my equation. Do you guys get that? Okay, so kom ons gaan stel in vir 2 en 9. Dan gaan ek hê 9 is gelyk aan a tot die mag 2. Alright? And this was a nice and easy one. 9 is the same as 3 to the power of 2, which means that a will be, oh, kyk nou vir 2, 3, sorry. Another way would be to get rid of that 2, you could have said square root of 9, nee? But remember that can be plus or minus. En hoekom gaan ek dan die positief 3 gaan kies? Want hy mag nie kleiner wees as 0 nie. Ag, hy mag nie kleiner wees as, ja, kleiner wees as 0 nie, nee? You guys good? Alright, so a is then 3. So then I already know that my equation is actually y is equal to 3 to the power of x. Nee. Nou moet ek nog steeds vir p gaan kry. So now that I have that, I can go substitute in my new coordinates. So kom ons gaan stel nou in waar die x waarde p is en die y waarde is 1 op 81. So then 1 over 81 is equal to 3 to the power of p. Is julle nog by? Goed, nou lyk hy soos die wat ek vir jou gegee het vir huiswerk. Nee. Alright, so the 1 over 81 is actually 3 to the power of? Good. So 1 over 81 will be 3 to the power of minus 4. So therefore P will be minus 4. Is julle reg daar? Good. Now at 3.2 they ask me determine the equation of G in the form y is equal to what. Now, hulle sê vir my G is die refleksie van F in die y-as. Can I skip to the next page? Okay. Now, 3.2, when we reflect in the, what is it, in die y-as, nee? We said xy will become The y value, because we're reflecting in y, will stay y. But the x value, what's going to happen there? The sign of that will change. No. Okay, so my initial equation was f was y is equal to 3 to the power of x. Okay, now they're saying g is now the reflection of that in the y-axis, meaning that x must become a negative x. No, but do we usually leave it like that? 3 to the power of negative x is the same as a third to the power of x. Hoe kry ek dit? Must I show? Huh? Nee, is almal by? Ja. Dis eintlik mos 3 tot die mag minus 1 maal met die x. En daai 3 tot die mag minus 1 is eintlik 'n derde, né? Ja. Ja. Okay, right people? So that was 3.2. Dan vra hulle vir jou by 3.3, die laaste enetjie daar. 3.3 they say determine the equation of h, the reflection of f in the x-axis. So nou, wanneer ek reflecteer in die x-as, wat gaan dan gebeur? My x-waarde gaan presies dieselfde bly, maar my y-waarde gaan nou raak negatief. Nee, okay, so f was gewees, y is gelyk aan 3 tot die mag x. Ja, nou gaan ek hom in die in die x-as gaan reflecteer, so hy gaan raak minus y is gelyk aan 3 tot die mag x, maar hulle sê vir my, ek moet hom, of hulle sê nie dit actually in die vraag nie, but we usually wanted y is equal to whatever, not minus y, nee? So I've got to get rid of that minus in front, so y will be minus 3 to the power of x. Any questions? Julle reg? Good. Sê weer? Okay. Nee, joh. Rarig. Okay, right. Ek gaan vir jou huiswerk gee en dan gaan ek gou aangaan met daai ander. So your homework is still exercise 1, page 50. You're going to do 2.1 and 2.2. Now, onthou vir my, please read carefully. There's an A, B, and a C for each. So it's 2.1 ABC, 2.2 ABC. Okay? Right. Dan kan julle gou begin met dit. Ja.